What's up, guys? Oh shit, the mic is all the way down here. There we go, that's better. What's up, guys, and welcome back. Been a while, had a little break, I guess, from the old YouTube. I was away for July doing loads of coaching, and then took a bit of time off in August as well, and then kind of getting back to it. But looking forward to get back into the grind. Anyways, that's not why you're here. You're here to get faster, aren't you? But anyways, put a Instagram poll up and said the first person to reply, I'll do a YouTube video on what you want me to do the YouTube video on. So the topic today is going to be how to recover in between back-to-back training sessions. So whether that's you train in the morning and you kind of do a row first thing, and then you go straight and do weights or something like that, or you're on the bike, that's a bit less regular. It's more about those kind of weekend sessions where train maybe once on a Saturday morning and then you do weights later, or you, sorry, hold on. Just making sure that I've got my mic connected, because sometimes it uses the camera mic, which is shit. Anyways, or you have two back-to-back rows, or maybe it's kind of, you can kind of use some of this stuff for racing as well if it's at a regatta. Basically just how you can bounce back from one session to another. Mainly it's going to be around food and nutrition and hydration and preparing. But the kind of first part, main part will be the food and nutrition, everything, but the other part just initially will be around how you train. And generally, if you're doing two low intensity sessions, two UT2 sessions, then that's fine. You don't generally have to worry about the order, but in general, if you're doing two sessions and one's low intensity and one's high intensity, always going to be better to do the low intensity session first. It works as warming you up for the second session. But also you're just going to perform, you're just going to perform better in the high intensity session if you do low intensity first. The first piece of advice though that I would give is make sure that your low intensity is easy enough and that you're not going too hard in your low intensity so that it affects how you perform in your high intensity session. So that'd be the first thing, is make sure if you're doing low intensity before high intensity that it's easy enough. That's basically it. I'll keep it simple. That's basically how you can go about doing back-to-back low intense or back-to-back training sessions. With food, the kind of big things to cover are going to be sort of the night before, the morning of, and then in between the sessions, and then what to do after it. So if you know you have back-to-back training sessions coming up, then the important thing is going to be making sure you have just a carb-rich dinner the night before, and making that ideally some higher quality, I shouldn't say higher quality, just slower release carbs. So potatoes, grains, what else? The kind of rice, slower release carbohydrates, and basically having as much of it as you can. So say you're training on the Saturday morning and you've got two back-to-back sessions, you should have a really carbohydrate rich meal the night before. It's kind of similar to how some people talk about carb loading. If you're not training for more than 90 minutes, then you don't need to carb load. I should say if you're not training for more than 90 minutes and you're not able to eat before or after that, then you need to carb load. But generally, so there's things like marathons and stuff like that where you need to carb load with your glycogen. But in this example, if you carb load a little bit, it'll just help in between those two sessions, because it's pretty difficult to get the amount of fueling in between the first and second session. So the carb loading the night before helps. I mean, I can give you measurements, I can give you this many grams per kilo of body weight, but to be honest, stuff your face with carbs, have as many carbs as you want, have a big ass plate of carbs the night before. There's no need to get the scales out and measure it. Just eat as much carbs as you can. Try and eat a variety. So this is one tip that can apply to all of it. One really good way to make sure that you recover in between sessions and just in general and absorb as many carbs as you need is to have a good variety of carbohydrates. And that's what's shown is if you can get your carbs from different sources, it aids the absorption. So what I mean by different sources is, well, what an example of not getting it from different sources would be having something like a cereal bar and then having bread. And if that cereal was from wheat and the bread was from wheat, it's the same carb source. You're not getting a variety of carbs. So an example of how you can get a variety in is have some rice and then, I don't know, like have some sweet potato chopped into like a curry that you're having with that rice. And then have some fruit afterwards or before, and then maybe have some dessert or something and have some sugar in your dessert. Anyways, one of the biggest things I would avoid, let's move to the morning of, again, 3 to 4 hours before that training. Treat it like a race where you want to have as many carbs as you can. If you know you have 2 big back-to-back sessions, if it's the morning, I would have as many carbs as you kind of possibly can in the morning. And again, I'd have slower release carbs. So my go-to was Shreddies because it tasted good and it was also whole grain, so it was slower release. I just always smashed Shreddies, but again, it doesn't matter. If you're someone that struggles to get carbs in the morning, you can have the simpler carbs like the sugary cereals, but whole grain, slower release, porridge, oats, things like that, that's ideal. But something is better than nothing. Do not train fasted. I know lightweight rowers might do that sometimes, but if you can, even if you feel sick, you're always going to be better off getting something in, even if it's just a banana. The one big piece of advice I would give is before your training, before your first session and in between your first and second session, is to avoid the higher fat foods. So obviously we want fats in our diet. Fats are super important for just general health, but also for performance sport. However, around training sessions, in particular around high intensity training and around back-to-back training sessions, we want to try and avoid it if we can. Fats, of course, they're good, but what happens with fats is, so to break it down on a scientific level, our arteries expand and contract when we exercise to obviously get more blood flowing to our muscles so we can transport oxygen. And the cells that are responsible for helping our arteries expand and contract are called endothelium cells. And when you have fats in your diet, what happens is some of that fat will coat your endothelium cells and it stops your arteries from expanding and contracting as well. So basically, try and avoid some of that fat before. If you're someone that has toast and you find it's easier to get toast in by putting a bit of butter or peanut butter on, again, that's better than nothing. If you're not, like, dry toast is a bit minging, but so if having butter on it helps you get it down, that's better. But if you can, I would avoid butter or peanut butter or anything that's rich, like cheese or bacon. I would be avoiding that before the first session and in between the first and second session. Other things as well, like in between second sessions, maybe you're having leftover food and it's macaroni and cheese, or it's like a really rich creamy sauce, or it's like from a curry, or there's a higher fatty meat in it or something like that. Again, I'm going to suggest that you avoid having that around your sessions because you're just stopping your body's ability to expand and contract your arteries. Disclaimer, I am vegan. I have been for 5 years. I was while I'm competing. I don't really talk about it. It's more for me about the ethics of it. I'm not going to get into it in this video. The original reason I went vegan was because I wanted the performance benefit, which I did notice subtly. I didn't notice it in like splits or speeds, but I definitely felt better. And the main reason I'm saying this is because the biggest benefit that I noticed was that in between sessions on a Saturday and a Sunday, my ability to refuel and go again and digest. The digestion was a big one as well. For that second session was so much better. That was probably one of the biggest benefits I noticed from going better, was that I just felt better in that second session. And a big reason of that is just generally vegan plant-based diets have less fat in them. They don't have as many of the rich creams. They don't have as many of the fatty meats. So that was just an example. Again, you don't have to go vegan to get that benefit. Just cut back, go leaner meats, or kind of avoid the dairies and the richer sauces and the peanut butters as well, which peanut butter obviously isn't an animal product. But anyways, that's just an example of something else. The other big ones are going to be antioxidants to try and get in. So these are the kind of things you want. They help. Basically, the richer, darker the color, the higher the amount of antioxidants, the better they are at reducing inflammation. So blueberries are a good one, but I'm sure, you know, there's some students watching this, and blueberries, you know, they can be expensive, especially if you're having them every weekend. But you know, the simplest ones you can use are like spinach and broccoli. Cherries, they're a good alternative as well. And yeah, they're great for reducing inflammation. The other ones, fruits, I really recommend fruits and trying to get them in as quickly as possible. Fruits are great because they have antioxidants, they have water in them, so they're great for hydration, and they also have simple carbs. So fruits are fantastic. They're a massive go-to for me. I would always have apples because they would transport well, they wouldn't bruise like bananas do. So apples are my go-to in between sessions. Immediately after, so if you really struggle with fueling and refueling for that second session, one thing I would recommend is making sure that you're fueling during that first session. So something I used to do is sugar. Oh my God, I'd have sugar. I'd put it's the same shit that's in the SIS, the gels and all that stuff. So you can buy that stuff if you want, the fancy label to make yourself feel better, or you can just use table sugar and put a bit of flavoring in it if you want the same effect. Anyways, what I would do is I would get like a bottle, and then I would put like 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar into that, and then put some diluting juice into it as well. So if you're in the US, I don't know what you call it. It's like, I don't know, you could put like orange juice in it or something, and I would shake it up and just have like a really sweet drink, and I would drink that throughout my session so that I would be fueling during that first session, so there's less of a deficit to make up for when I go into that second session. I'd also maybe eat right before that first session, so right before I'm boating for that first session, I'd maybe have like another apple, another kind of light carby snack, and then immediately as soon as I'd come in, try and get those simple carbs in as quickly as possible. So I would try and have these things right by where I would put down my boat. So I would come in with my single, I'd put it on the trestles, I'd have my plastic bag there, and immediately I'd be eating an apple. Again, part of that was like racing habit. I just like to do that because it creates good habits for racing, but the simple carbs is a great one to hit. So I know in the culture out there around health and weight loss and all that bullshit and bodybuilding, well, sorry, I shouldn't say bullshit. Weight loss, totally different topic, but a lot of that advice from bodybuilding and all that shit trickles into performance sport, and it results in athletes, endurance athletes, thinking that we don't need sugar, which we do. It's like a fantastic fuel for our body, and it's a great way to recover. And getting those simple carbs in as soon as we finish is a great way to help that recovery. We get our muscles repairing as quickly as possible. The massive emphasis is going to be carbs and getting enough fueling in, and protein. Yes, we do want it, but if you're someone that's struggling in between a first and second session, then to be honest, I would leave the protein until afterwards, because protein's something that satiates you, so it makes you feel full, so it stops you from getting in those carbs. And slows down the absorption of those carbs. So what I would suggest is, if you're struggling with this, you want to prioritize it. Carbs is the answer. Low fat, protein, if you can get it, great. But if you're struggling, you notice you're lagging in that second session, I would get rid of the protein for now, have it afterwards, still hit your targets after the second session, but carbs is the main focus. Holy shit, I thought this was going to be a short video, but I've been rambling here for 14 minutes. The final one, and it's quite an obvious one, but you know, people don't do it well, is drink water. Like, people say they struggle with hydration. I'm trying to be empathetic here, but like, how friggin' hard is to just have a bottle and go like this? Do that and you'll be faster. Like, literally just go like this. The easiest speed. Actually, if you're watching this video right now and there's not a bottle beside you, you don't have a drink within arm's reach, pause the video now, go and get a glass, and get in the habit of, if you're going to be sitting somewhere for more than 20 minutes, you're always going to want to have water within reach, because it's just one of the easiest ways that you can stay on top of your recovery. So pause the video and you're back. Okay, cool. Cheers. Honestly, just staying hydrated all the time is a great way to have your body ready. Don't try and wait until after that first session to start to get hydrated. You need to be hydrated the night before, the morning of, right before you're going in the boat, while you're in the boat. You're just always drinking, sipping that water, staying hydrated. Normally what I would do, as soon as I finish one session, I tan one of these and have one of these with water. And again, that water will help with the hydration. So yeah, simple, drink more. People say, what are some tips for hydration? Drink more water. Like, it's literally as simple as that. But a big one, to be honest, and when I'm on coaching calls, some people know this, I'll be watching, especially if it's a 30 or 60 minute coaching call, I'll be watching them. I'll be like, do they have a drink beside them? Because during a 30-minute, 60-minute call, you'll be getting dehydrated. You need to just keep sipping every 10, 20 minutes. Little sip of water. And you feel better. Your skin feels better. Everything feels better. Your body feels better. The only annoying thing is you just have to go to the toilet more. And yeah, I think that's everything I had noted down. Carbs, low fat, antioxidants, your dark blues, purples, greens, they're great. Simple carbs, a variety of carbs, fuel during that first session if you need to, and stay hydrated. And yeah, and like the goddamn video. Yeah, all the best. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, all that nonsense. And yeah, I'm hoping to get back into the rhythm of doing these videos more regularly. So yeah, all the best. Hope you all have a great day. Cheers.